2019 Week 4 predictions and picks coming your way right now.
Warning. All prediction and preview videos are recorded on the Friday prior to the week of the games covered. As a result, any injuries, benchings, and any and all information available to me in each team's last performance are unknown at the time of recording. As the season goes on, these will be more and more accurate. In other words, enjoy.
What is up, and welcome to another special edition of Lego on Fuego's college football predictions and picks. Now, this is all for fun, a lot like how College Game Day does right before the noon kickoff games. So these videos are meant for entertainment purposes only and to debate in the comments below. Looking forward to seeing you there. Who's first? You've got two Friday night specials to start the weekend off right. Us at Southern Cal, and us at home against Air Force. Where you leaning on these? Boise State, I'll start with you. So far this season, I saw you struggle in the first half against Florida State, which isn't that big of a deal because you were traveling miles and miles away and you were starting a true freshman at quarterback. Then you struggled in week 2 at home against Marshall. That was a little bit more alarming, admittedly. Now, I'm sure you smoked Portland State here in week 3, but I won't get to see that obviously, and it won't really give me much to work off of, even if I did tape after Saturdays. Of course, going against these service academies and their triple option attack is always a tricky thing. As a Michigan fan here in 2019, I'm not sure many people know that feeling as well as I do. Army, anyone? But the fact is, outside of that first half against Florida State, your defense has only given up 7 points in its last 6 quarters. That's phenomenal. And this offense isn't too incredibly foreign to you, considering the Falcons are in your division. You won 48-38 at their place last year with Rippon under center. This year you went at home with Bachmeier under center, but in a very close one, 38-32. As far as the USC-Utah game goes, I'm not sure what will happen in week 3 against BYU for USC, but USC has been a team that I've very much struggled with picking. And that's good news for USC because I've picked against them in both week 1 and week 2, and they won both times. In my Yahoo College Football Pick'em page with all of my subscribers, I'm 17-8 and in first place. But out of those 8 losses, 2 of them are USC, so a quarter of my losses are picking against the Trojans. Now, Slovis sure as heck looked like the real deal against Stanford. I wish I could see him in action again against BYU to help me out with my decision here, but I can't. With that said, regardless of how he looks, I'm really fond of this Utah Utes team. They have consistently had one heck of a defense and one heck of a ball coach here in Kyle Whittingham. This one, of course, is a monumental game. It will likely decide the Pac-12 South, and from the beginning, I've had Utah winning that. So, I'm gonna go ahead and pick against USC again. I like the Utes to win this one in a tough-nosed, gritty football game, 34-31. All right, let's go with some quick picks. Who we got? What about your old alma mater, Rocky Top, on the road against Florida? Believe in us, Mr. Lego. Trust me. Now, the last time I trusted you, I ended up in student loan debt up to my eyeballs, and all I got in return was watching Derek Dooley coach terribly. Those UT girls in leggings, though, were awfully nice, likely made up for half of the loans cost. As far as this game goes, the Gators absolutely embarrassed you at Neyland last year, 47-21. You turned the ball over a mind-boggling 6 times compared to Florida's 1. Outside of that, you actually did okay against the Gators. You had 18 first downs compared to their 14. You were 8 for 18 on third down conversions, which is crucial in a big game like this, whereas the Gators were 3 for 11. You had 364 total yards compared to Florida's 387. That's not a huge discrepancy by any means. And you had the ball for 34 minutes and 25 seconds compared to Florida's time of possession of 25 minutes and 35 seconds. So you had higher time of possession as well. In all facets of the game, you either beat the Gators or were right there with them neck and neck. The problem is 6 turnovers versus 1. So do I think that you can go on the road at Gainesville and actually compete with the Gators? Well, yes. Yes, I do. But do I think that Tennessee knows how to get out of its own way? No, I don't. Tennessee's going to win some games that they should not this year. They did it last year against Auburn and Kentucky, but Florida's not going to be one of them. You keep it relatively close because it's a rival game and there's a lot of emotions and you're going to try really hard, but I've got Florida in this one, 36-27. All right, now you got us at Pitt, us at BYU, and us at home against Michigan State. Give us the easy chalk win, the team most likely to lose, and that middle tier game that you are a little bit more 50-50 on. Go. Ooh, okay, that sounds like fun. All right, for the most likely to win, the easy chalk win, I'm gonna take UCF over Pitt, 37-24. Now for the middle tier game, I'm gonna go ahead and take the Washington BYU game. Now I like Washington to win this one on the road, 27-23 in a tight one, but man, you always have to be worried about those road games, especially one at BYU. I've said it over and over again on this channel, BYU's defense is nothing to play with. They haven't exactly showed out this year, but I know that defense and I know they're capable. My concern with the Cougars is that the schedule at this point will have taken a huge toll. So far it's been versus Utah, at Tennessee, versus USC, now against Washington. Ouch, that's pretty painful. And it doesn't get any easier from there. Their next 4 games after that are at Toledo, at USF, against Boise State, and at Utah State. That's a lot of ats, a lot of traveling to the East Coast, and a lot of good to great teams that they're having to play. Now, a lot of people are gonna say those teams aren't that good. And I understand that, but keep in mind that we're talking about BYU here, not Alabama. This is a very difficult schedule for a good but not excellent BYU football team. And then lastly, I think you Northwestern are going to be my pick for the most likely to lose. And there's really only one reason for that. You've beaten Michigan State 3 seasons in a row. If you were to beat Michigan State for a 4th time in a row, man, that'd be awfully impressive. In which case, Pat Fitzgerald might as well go ahead and call Mark D'Antonio his son. Because at that point, he would absolutely have rights to do so, and that'd be pretty hysterical from a Michigan standpoint. But I think the more likely scenario is that you're finally going to drop one against Sparty. Also, keep in mind that Flynn Nagel and Clayton Thorson are both gone now. Last year alone, Clayton Thorson had 373 pass yards and 3 touchdowns, and Flynn Nagel had 10 receptions for 111 yards. That production loss is going to be crucial. Give me Michigan State 27, Northwestern 18. Alright, 6 more picks, including some big matchups. Let's go ahead and get 2 more knocked out along the way on a lightning fast vibe. Who are those 2 going to be? How about my Bruins on the road against the Washington State Cougars? And us on the road against Stanford. Ooh, some Pac-12 delights. Yeah, I'll bite on this. UCLA, there is absolutely no way you're heading at Wazoo for a 10:30 matchup and coming back with a W. Washington State 44, Bruins 26. And then Oregon versus Stanford, a game that was just absolutely gut-wrenching for the Ducks a season ago. You think they forgot about that one, giving up a 24-7 lead? Because I don't. Something is off with Stanford in the first 2 weeks, and it's more than just Costello being out in week 2. They gave up 45 to USC. That's a lot for a Stanford team. You know, the score was 24-20 at halftime, which means they were beat 21-0 in the second half alone. Now, Oregon's going to have to play a lot better against Costello than they did last season, where he went 19 for 26 for 327 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions, which is a 97.3 QBR. And I'm not exactly confident they will, but listen, Herbert is just a dude. He's not going to let the Ducks lose this one again. I like Oregon 31-26. All right, here we go. The final 4 and some games that make me want to run through a brick wall. So let's go over these big ones, starting off with Oklahoma State and Texas. All right. All right indeed, my friend. Texas, fresh off a tough loss against a very good LSU team because their running back can't catch and because they can't convert on 4th and goal again just moments later. And then there was an onside kick that missed by just that much. A lot of things that could have gone Texas's way, but didn't. But man, you got to go forward, right? You got to keep moving. Time to face the adversity and look at the schedule from here on out. Forget about the past. If you remember, OK State actually stopped Texas's 6-game winning streak last year with a 38-35 victory at their place. This time it's at Texas, and you know Ellinger isn't going to let his team lose this one 2 times in a row. That's for sure. What's that? He lost in 2017 against them as well? Correction. You know Sam Ehlinger isn't going to let his team lose against Oklahoma State 3 times in a row. That's for sure. Texas will put up massive amount of points this game, and this time OK State won't be able to keep up. I like Texas 48-37. On the road at Texas A&M for my Auburn Tigers, surely picking against us in a tough road matchup seems the way to go here, unfortunately. Wasn't the way to go last year or the year before that, but this time around I have to consider that Auburn is now starting a true freshman at quarterback, not named Tua or Trevor Lawrence from the past. Also, his competition is the experience of Kellen Mond and all the weapons that he has at College Station, home of the 12th man. Yeah, give me Texas A&M here with all those advantages. Now, Kellen Mond didn't exactly look against Clemson in week 2 as he did last year in 2018, but he did look really good in 2018 against an awesome, one of the best ever defensive lines at Clemson. The reason why I bring that up is, yeah, he didn't look great in week 2 against Clemson this time around, but last year he did. And so he's shown that he's very capable of beating very good defensive lines and very good defenses in general, which is, what Auburn has. In other words, I think we can give him a little bit of a pass considering he's balanced it out. Also, I'm not very convinced on Auburn just yet. At the time of writing this, they're the number 8 team in the nation. What we've seen out of them is have to play catch up against Oregon pretty much the entire game, and they also proved the naysayers right by looking pretty lackluster against Tulane and only winning 24-6 and just looking flat the entire game. Also at the time of this recording, Bo Nix's completion percentage is 47.1%. That is Brandon Wimbush 2017 bad. Now a stat like that just is not going to cut it in real SEC play, which from what I can tell is exactly what this is. Now obviously I'm no dummy, I know Auburn can take this one, I know Texas A&M can fall down at home, but that's what makes this an excellent matchup. Either team can win, obviously. I'm just giving reasons as to why I think Texas A&M is going to win. I think they win in front of their home crowd with Mon's experience. Bo Nix plays okay, but not well enough in his first real road test. Gig 'em Aggies, 27-25. Okay, and then there were two. So let's roll with the next to best matchup of the week, Notre Dame and Georgia. Let me guess, you thought I was going to say Michigan-Wisconsin for that part, right? The reason why I'm saying that this is the next to best matchup of the week is that I think Notre Dame is fraudulent this year, and I think Georgia is the real deal regardless of who they lost from last year's roster. Although they haven't played much of anybody so far, they look very focused, dominant, and with purpose here in 2019 at this point. Whereas for the one game I've seen out of Notre Dame against Louisville, they looked exactly how I thought they would look here in their 2019 campaign, which is not as good. Sure, Louisville looked faster, better, just more improved than their 2-10 record would suggest from last year, but the fact of the matter is they were 2-10, so Notre Dame should have squashed them. Instead, it was that close to being 14-14 at the half if it weren't for Jawan Pass's 2 fumbles lost on 2 straight plays. And then what they needed to do was come out strong in the second half and just make everybody forget about that first half. Instead, they won it 14-3 and not in very impressive fashion. Georgia is at home, Georgia has the better coach, Georgia has the better athletes, Georgia is the better football team. Now, the only thing that can really save Notre Dame in this game is the amount of disrespect and doubt that is going to be coming their way here before this game and leading up to it. A lot of times that amount of disrespect really means something and it makes them play that much harder and that much better. But if I were a betting man, that's not where I would go. I think Notre Dame gets introduced to the SEC in a big way. Georgia wins this one 39-18. Yes, I think it's going to get that bad. And lastly, your boys, let's go blue, against the team that's going to put an end to the unwarranted Wolverine hype early on. So, I could see Michigan playing like it did in weeks 1 and 2, Wisconsin playing like it did in weeks 1 and 2, Wisconsin remembering the beatdown that we put on them last year in Ann Arbor, and then absolutely trouncing us 37-20 or something to that tune. I could definitely see that happening. This kind of has the feel of Michigan and Penn State of recent years, where basically the home team just absolutely takes it to the away team. And what looks like a good matchup on paper ends up being a blowout. But I'm putting all my eggs in the Don Brown basket for this one, and I expect him to come out with a great game plan schematically on defense. Here's the deal. Michigan's offense is going to look absolutely dreadful in this football game. Now, I heard what Tariq Black said, just wait and see. This offense is going to be exciting. I've heard about speed and space and Josh Gaddis and Shea Patterson being the focal point of an open spread offense and Zach Charbonnet coming in and just doing his magic. I've heard all of that. But guess what? Bringing it is better than singing it. Walking it is better than talking it. I heard all of this mess during the offseason, and I'm continuing to hear it. But guess what I'm not doing? I'm not seeing it. So let me ask my fellow Michigan fans this. If we haven't seen it against Middle Tennessee State and Army, lesser opponents, why do you think we're going to see it against a very, very good defense in Wisconsin? So if we are going to win, it's going to have to be with our defense and the mastery of Don Brown. Well, guess what? I actually lied earlier. I think that Don Brown has some kind of a game plan for this one, but it's not going to be enough. All that was to simply throw you off. Last year in Ann Arbor, Jonathan Taylor had 101 yards against us. Now that's pretty good, but you have to consider a lot of factors. One of the biggest being that they fell down very early and by a lot to us. Another huge factor is we don't have Devin Bush. We don't have Rashawn Gary. We don't have Chase Winovich, and we don't have David Long. Our defense is just not as good and not as talented as it was last season, no matter if you want to believe otherwise. Now we can hear until the roosters crow about how we have this new offense and how our defense stopped Army to its lowest offensive output in years. And all that's good and well. But the reality is that the proof is in the pudding, and all I've seen so far is a 50-plus yard field goal attempt out of Army, just missed to the right, and us holding our breath, thankful that it did. I've also seen a lot of turnovers and short fields for the opposition. Now all of a sudden we think that product on the field is going to change in an away game? At Camp Randall, one of the hardest places to play in the nation, against one of the best rushing attacks in the nation, against a team that's won its first 2 games 110-0? You mean to tell me our offense is going to turn the corner against a team that hasn't given up a single point and that has only given up 215 total yards in its first 2 games this season? Give me a break. We're going to lose this game. Don't at me, Michigan fans. Wait until after the game. From there, you can either say, I told you so, or man, you were right. This is a game where if Michigan does win, maybe the playoffs are a possibility. But if we lose, Harbaugh being on the hot seat is a possibility. Unfortunately, because I'm rooting for the guy. But I think he's going to lose this one. I think Michigan gets trounced in this one, 37-20, and it's not even that close. I think it's 37-13 late in the game, and we get a give me touchdown. Regardless, for me, it's go blue till I die. And that might be sooner rather than later the way they're playing. All right, so there you have it. My week 4 predictions and picks. I hope you enjoyed them. I always enjoy making them. Subscribe right here if you want the most fun, entertaining, and creative college football content all season long. Like this video if you liked it. If you did not, go ahead and head over to Volunteer Roadshow's channel. That man is passionate about football, and I love watching him. I'm Lego on Fuego. The fire's out for now, but I'll have it back up and running again real soon. I'll see you guys then, and God bless.